Peace, light, and love. My name is Kristen with a D for those that aren't familiar with me. Welcome to Only One You channel. I wanted to tap in really quickly, really briefly, hopefully, and kind of introduce this next path. Not even next path. The next series of videos that you can expect from me. Okay. I've talked a lot about just my journey and how important it has been for me to know myself, to get to know myself, to identify high vibing energy versus low vibing energy within myself personally, and what this journey has looked like for me as I've chosen higher vibrations for myself, as I've chosen to heal the damage that operating in a low vibrational energy has caused. It's been super significant for me. But now it is time for me to begin to tap into, or not begin to tap into, now it's time for me to share the information of how I've been able to do that. So, yes, physically, I've been able to experience a lot of healing in my life because I have tapped into nature. I spend time outside. I spend a lot of time outside. I utilize herbs in all forms, dry herbs, tinctures, essential oils, like, yeah, on a regular basis. I have made that a part of my regular routine, actually. I utilize crystals. Crystals are from the earth. They are the earth. Rocks, like the, I had a very wise woman share with me one time, mountains give birth to rocks. The earth gives birth to mountains and rocks, is what she said. The earth gives birth to mountains and to rocks. If you look at nature, if you look at soil, if you look at sand, the reason why it's so nurturing to other plants, why other plants are able to gather nourishment from it, is because the natural rocks possess all types of minerals and energies that benefit the plant naturally, like mountains broken down are rocks broken down is like sand, gravel, things of that nature. Like, it's all connected. We're all universally connected. Okay, so I do utilize crystals for that matter, because the energy from it, the natural minerals from them, like, they benefit me. Almost in every video you've seen me with my tourmaline on, I typically don't take it off. I have one here. I also keep one close to me, a piece of tourmaline. I keep it close. I have a little, I keep them on me. I stay strapped, you hear me? So yeah, I utilize crystals. I utilize herbs. I have tapped into nature in and of itself. I use focused breathing to connect with myself, to connect with the earth, meditation. You know, a lot of the stuff that I grew up being taught was taboo, being taught was satanic or demonic. And in all actuality, it is empowering. Empowering. You know what I'm trying to say? It actually connects you to your creator. And it's very clear to me now why those things were not taught growing up, why these things are not taught in schools. It's because it allows you to operate at a level of power and independence that doesn't benefit the system. And the system needs you to be in place. It needs you to cooperate and to Okay. Um, and so I have initially tapped into just natural living as much as possible. I'm trying to remove as many chemicals from my household and from just my very existence as I possibly can and replace them with natural energy. So, yes, I experienced a lot of physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual healing and connections within myself that way. Another tool that I've utilized is learning, opening myself up to learn about natural energy. Natural energy. Um, I live in Indiana. I am from Memphis, Tennessee. And when I first moved out here, I was making trips back home pretty regularly. So about a 7.5, 8 hour drive, especially because I have young children. So sometimes it could be longer. It would take a 5 hour energy to make that trip happen. Almost every trip. Until I began to heal myself and to tap into my own energy and my own natural energy and that type of thing. Now I can make the trip and I don't need a 5 hour energy drink at all in order to do it, no matter what time of day it is that I'm driving. But before I needed that. That was not energy. That was a false sense of energy. The crash that came after taking 5 hour energy drinks, they were hard crashes. I mean, naturally, it's like having a sugar rush or a sugar high and then crashing afterwards. Like, those things don't feel good. It comes with side effects. Okay, if it comes with side effects, then it is probably not necessarily beneficial for you. Typically, um, there are herbs that come with specific side effects, but typically those only impact you when you take them improperly. So, having the information and knowing how to apply it to your personal being is very significant when it comes to herbs and things of that nature. But I brought up the 5 hour energy drink to say that that's unnatural energy, right? There is a such thing as natural energy. There are ways of tapping into and gaining energy very naturally. And we don't realize it when we're just going throughout the day and not paying attention to ourselves and our actual surroundings, that we are impacted by the natural energy surrounding us at all times. At all times. We are earth. Our bodies are earth. Our bodies contain earth, water, fire, and air. All of the elements you can find within yourself. Okay? All of the elements are impacted by the sun, impacted by the moon, impacted by the stars, impacted by there's a lot more happening around you than you are aware of when you choose to live unaware. Okay, the sun's energy impacts you. The sun's energy is core energy and it's key to all life on earth. Okay, the sun's energy is key to all life on earth. Well, the moon's energy is super key to life on earth as well. The moon controls the tides, all of these things are significant. And all of them play a role in who you are today. They play a role in who you were intended to be because they were all in a specific position at the very hour of your birth. Okay? All of that information is super important to know as you are tapping into yourself, as you are healing yourself, as you are setting intentions for yourself and you're living and you're becoming whomever it is you're choosing to become. Okay? It helps to identify and understand the natural cycle you were born into, the natural system that you were born into. There was a point in time where it was natural for mothers to stay home and educate and nurture their children. There was a time where it was not. Now, for whatever reason people don't, that's your own personal preference. It's either your own personal preference or it's your programming, and you haven't decided to tap out of that just yet. You decide where you are in that. But naturally, it was for the mother to nurture the child or the children up to a certain point. Okay? Naturally, it was for us to live in wooden houses and houses that were made of organic materials versus being completely surrounded by synthetic materials now. Like, that has an impact on your natural being. You are a natural organic being. What makes you think anything inorganic actually benefits you? No, the houses that we live in, they're convenient, but they're not necessarily beneficial or conducive to our natural energy. That's why getting outside is so important. Being able to step away from the synthetic and the plastic and the chemicals and the this and the that, and being able to expose yourself and experience the natural energy. It will literally change your physical energy. Okay, the energy that you find in nature has the power and the capacity to relieve depression, to cure diseases, and restore joy, to find peace. Like, all of that can be found naturally, and all of it is available to you naturally. It requires you to do the work of gathering the information of what does what. Like, there's a reason I wear this around my neck. It's not just, oh, I like that stone. I do like this stone a lot. Gratitude for being with me. But there's a purpose for it. Every stone that I have, every stone that I keep on my person, there's a purpose for it. I had to identify what stones carried what energy or what minerals that were most beneficial to what I was attempting to accomplish. And then I had to make it a point to access those stones, to obtain those stones. And I have to make it a point to keep the stones on me. I have to make it a point to nurture and care for my stones, to cleanse them, to let them sit in nature for their own natural, organic charging capacities. Like, when your phone dies, you're going to go put it on the charger. And if you connect your phone to a charger that's not the original source, these phones nowadays will tell you, you got a poor connection. Connecting to your original source is very significant in you actually feeling yourself, healing yourself. If you're constantly connected to a source like a 5-hour energy source, that's a temporary charge. That battery is going to die out real quick, and it's going to drain really, really quickly. Versus connecting to a natural energy source, connecting to natural organic herbs that work with your natural organic body to increase energy, doesn't bring side effects when used properly. Finding yourself getting tired while you're driving and pulling over and stepping out of the car so that you can get some fresh air, so that you can stretch your body, so that you can absorb some of the sun's energy or the moon's energy, depending on what it is that you're doing. Like, knowing gives you the capacity to apply what you've learned. And wisdom is the application of knowledge. Everybody wants wisdom, but you're not going to be wise without knowledge. Like, wisdom is not some supernatural, mystical, Ooh, pow, you got it type of thing. Wisdom is something that you acquire over time because you've begun to apply the knowledge that you've gathered. I'm where I am today because I've done the work of breaking down these energies, these natural energies, and I've done the work and intentionally applied them to my life. Now I'm here sitting before you, sharing this information with you. I'm not telling you something that I just heard on YouTube. I'm not telling you something that, I just read that in a book over there. No, baby, I've been going through for a minute now. I've been going through for a minute now. I've been going through experiences that have challenged me to apply the knowledge that I've been gaining. And as I've applied the knowledge, I found myself far more successful in my endeavors in the last 10 months than I have found in the last 33 years of my life. Not saying that I have not had good experiences throughout my life, not saying I haven't experienced victories throughout my life, not to this degree. I've never experienced peace to this degree. I've never experienced provision to this degree. I've never experienced manifestations to this degree. In manifestations, magic, like those things don't come from thin air. They come from identifying the natural cycles around you and positioning yourself with the natural universal energy that was here before you got here. Like, it's hard to wrap your brain around the concept that life didn't start when you got here. You were born into an already established system. Our lives as humans are but a blink of an eye to a tree or to a mountain or to, like, kind of like there are some insects that I actually just learned this like not long ago, but there's a fly whose lifespan as an adult is literally 24 hours. It's like you live all your life to be an adult and you're an adult for 24 hours and then you die. 24 hours of living is very short in our understanding of life. Well, 80, 90, 100, 120 years of living is absolutely nothing in comparison to the lifespan of this earth. You were born into a natural system already. And believe it or not, when we start talking really energetically and spiritually, you were born into a battlefield. There's been a battle between light and darkness since way before you got here. Therefore, there has been a war for your soul ever since you got here. But it's for you to identify where you stand on this field and for you to position yourself where you actually intend to be. Because when you don't, you find yourself at the front line of somebody else's bullshit. You find yourself humping and working and slaving away so that you can get a quote unquote paycheck while you're making somebody else a ridiculous amount of money that keeps them from having to even show up to the office. You have to decide where you intend to be. But the best way to do that is by identifying the natural energy around you. Seasons. Seasons are constantly changing. The same thing applies to you and your natural energy. There's a time for you to establish new goals and set new intentions. There's a time for you to overcome and endure the weather that comes, the obstacles that come while you're nurturing those seeds and attempting to produce a mature harvest. There's a time for you to go out and harvest them. You know, I was just staying someplace that had apple trees in the back, and my girls will want to go out and like, oh, and they were really beautiful. Like, they were really beautiful apple trees. It was just super dope to experience and to be around. Um, my girls being younger, can we eat an apple off of it? Well, when it's time. But right now, it's not time to pick these apples. Right now, these apples are not ready. Well, what about these apples that are falling to the ground? There's a reason they're on the ground right now. You have to be able to identify what season that you're in, or you're gonna start picking fruit that's not ripe, or you're going to be picking fruit that should have been picked a month ago, and now it's starting to rot. You have to know and identify what season it is that you're in your life. Is it time for me to go out here and start cutting parts of this tree or taking parts of it away, pulling leaves up, pulling up weeds or this, that, and the other? Or is it time for me to nurture what is here right now? Is it time for me to plant new seeds? Is it time for me to harvest the fruit that has come from the last cycle? Like, you have to identify where you are in these cycles, the natural energy cycle. Understanding that you are a part of a universal energetic system. And for those that have not been following me for very long, when I use the word energy, that is interchangeable with spirit, with spirituality for me. High energy, light spirits, spirits of light. Low vibing energy, darkness, spirits of dark, like demonic forces, or however you want to put it. You have to identify where you stand. You have to be able to identify what is happening within you, what is happening around you, and you have to position yourself where you intend to be. Understanding the sun's position, understanding that the sun is core energy, period, but understanding what zodiac the sun is in will help you to identify where you're pulling your core energy from right now, or where to apply that core energy. Understanding the moon and its phases, but not just the phases, but its position in the heavens, will help you to understand who you are in your seasons of growing and reaping and sowing and things of that nature. Understanding your birth chart. Every planet, every star was in a specific position at the very hour of your birth. That is significant to who you are naturally. Very significant to who you intended to be when you got here. That's going to tell the story of why it is you're experiencing what you're experiencing. It's going to give you the tools and the resources to overcoming the challenges that you're experiencing. Like, super significant information, but we're not taught this because it's not convenient for other people for you to be operating in your own natural God-given power. So this channel is specifically for people who desire to tap out of the inorganic system, i.e. the matrix, and to tap into their natural personal power. So I encourage you to like these videos. I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, because I will be giving regular updates, and now I'm going to be teaching more in-depthly about natural energy. We're going to talk about the elements. We're going to talk about astrology. We're going to talk about zodiacs. We're going to talk about chakras. We're going to talk about all of it. You hear me? And I encourage you to take what resonates. And one of my favorites, the way she puts it is, if it's not for you, it's not for you. I would encourage you to identify why it's not for you Is it not for you because somebody told you that this was not good information? Or is it not for you because you listened, received it, and identified that it wasn't for you? There are people that are very close to me that don't want to have these conversations with me. Not because they're not beneficial to them, but because we were raised to think these conversations were taboo. Zodiacs is witchcraft. This is that. Like it or not, I'm a medium, and I know that about myself. You can call that whatever you want to call it, but I know who I am, and I know that I operate in nothing but light. I refuse anything that isn't light. Therefore, I walk in my power, and I walk in my authority, and I walk in my authentic self unapologetically. And if it's not for you, then baby, it's not for you. And I'm okay with that too. But you need to know whether it's not for you because you decided it's not for you or because somebody else told you it wasn't for you. Those are hard conversations to have with yourself, but they're absolutely necessary. So, again, this video introduction to this new phase that we're going into. Now it's time to start understanding and tapping into our natural energy, fire energy, water energy, air energy, earth energy. It all serves a purpose. Right now it's storming outside. There is a purpose for that rain. It is a purpose for this wind. And we're talking on a universally energetic level. It's storming right now. I don't control the storms. There's a purpose for it, though. Just like there's a purpose for the earth, wind, fire, and air within and surrounding you. My name is Kristen with a D, for those that aren't familiar with me. Again, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments. I'd love to have open conversation and discussions about what it is we're talking about here. And until next time, peace, light, and love.